Hello guys, what's up? Today we are going to be talking about groups and how you can work in Blender using similar of groups in Max, because actually Blender doesn't have the same concept about group as 3D Max has, which I personally like 3D Max. I think that is very handy and easy to understand how groups works. It can be easy to change and to apply multiple modifiers on different objects. If you have a group selected and then you apply and apply of all of these, for me it's excellent, it's perfect. But Blender has similar way of do the things, but not as handy, and you will understand why it's not as handy. There is a reason for that, but I think that if we clarify this, lots of people that try to use Blender for the first time coming from 3D Max, they will not screw up with groups, the ideal of groups. Well, let's go here, 3D Max. You guys understand how it works, right? Let's say we have these, we have these three objects: a sphere, a cone, and a cube, right? And let's say we want to make them a group. We select all of them at once, and then we go here, group, group. We name the group, and that's all. Every time you select these guys, you're going to select all of these, unless you open the group, group, ungroup. So now you can select all of them. If you want to close the group, group. Okay, let me do again. Okay, group, right? If you wanna play around with the objects separately, you go here and then you open the group. So you see these gizmos surrounding the group, and then you can select each object individually, apply the transformations you want, and then as soon as you want to close the group, you go here and then you group close. So it's closed. That's how it works in Max. As soon as it's grouped, it shows here on 3D Max layer structure a group like this. This is the symbol of a group, right? And all of the objects are here inside. Similar things are gonna happen here on the Blender outline. I'm gonna show you that, right? Here in Blender, let's say we have this guy here, we have a monkey, what else we have here, sphere, let's say that, right? Okay, we have these three guys. Let's see them as a random to be easier to kind of identify them better. So let's say you have these three guys selected. In the outline, the guys shows here, right? For some reason I've created them inside lights. I'm just gonna move to collections to be easier to understand. And then we'll remove the cameras. Okay, we have these guys here, right? So the similar outline to 3D Max. You see here, very similar of here. You see here, right? If you want them to be grouped, you have two ways you can do that, right? I'm gonna show you three ways actually. You can select them, select the last one, the last object, and then you press Ctrl P, and then you're gonna parent the objects, which in Max will be something like this. Link objects. You are going to link to an object, and then the transformation that you are going to apply to this object, let me show you. It will be like this. Let's say you link these guys to this object, and now whatever you do with this object, oops, you see? And then now whatever you do, with this guy, you're gonna do to all of them, right? In Blender, similar things. Now that we apply the transformation, we press the Ctrl P and then we apply the transformation. Oh, we didn't apply it yet, sorry. Ctrl P, and then we keep transform. Keep transform means that the objects will be linked to that object, but they will remain on the same position. They will not be affected by any scale or transform or whatever thing that you have applied in your object, in the object that you are linking on. Now you can see immediately that as a group in 3D Max, here everything goes below the cone, right? Here everything that was separate now is as well below the cube. It means that in this cube now is the reference and all of them are linked to the group, to this cube, right? So right now you probably is asking, okay, but that's different, that's not group, that's linked. That's the link in 3D Max. I understand that. How the group works? Well, in Blender it's like that. The group is a link, right? Let's say that you want to have a gizmo for the entire group to manipulate that and have something more similar to 3D Max, right? Let's put it back. So now it's fine, nothing is happening. So the only way I could see to do that is I create an empty object. You can choose a cube, a circle, or whatever, right? This empty object will be your group, let's say that, right? Ctrl P, keep transform, right? So now this will be the gizmo. So you always can move your objects around here, and then you have this group, right? What is the main difference here? Because this is actually another way of linking stuff, right? In Blender you don't have the group, the idea of group. You have the idea of collections, which in Max is the same as the layers, right? Let's say you want to create another collection. You select everything, press M, and then you create a new collection like group something, group objects. Okay, so right now all of them are inside this group. If you want to select them, you select here, and then you do whatever you want it. Which it's the same as the layers in 3D Max. So you basically don't have group idea, the idea of group in Blender that you have in Max. You don't have the same idea in Blender, and I'm gonna explain you why. Because let's go Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z everything. Why? Because in Blender the last object is sensitive case. If, for example, you select all these objects, selecting these for the last has a meaning, has a very important meaning in Blender for lots of things, you know. So in this case, if you select these for the last, whatever object you select for the last will be more yellowish. The selection will be more yellowish and not orange like all the rest. You know, this means that this object is now the last selected object. And why this is the case? For lots of things. Let's say, let's apply a material here on this object. Right. Let's apply a material here. So you see why this plays around a lot with the theme. We apply this material here. Let's give it a metallic shader. So we have this metallic shader here, right? So if I want to apply the same material to all the objects in my scene, I just need to select all of them and press Ctrl L, right? and these will create links, and the links involves objects on the scene, data, material, animation, collection, instance, blah blah blah, modifiers, whatever, and all of them will be applied according to the last selection, right? Let's say that I selected this sphere here, and now I'm going to apply the same material to the rest of the group. So I've just pressed material, and now my material, the same material was being applied for all the objects on my scene, right? And that's the difference. That I think that's why the group doesn't work like it works in Max, right? Because in Max, if it's very handy if you have a group and you apply a modifier on that group, or if you apply maybe an object to that group, it applies to the whole group. I like the idea more. But after a while working with this approach in Blender, I don't think it's worst. Maybe it's not as handy, but in some case this can bring lots of advantages as well, like in terms of flow, in terms of pipeline workflow. You know, this can be very helpful. Let's say we have tons of modifiers here. Let's say, wow, how can I let's say I have a modifier here, right? That is let's say whatever modifier, I don't know, screw maybe, I don't know, maybe screw modifier. Maybe that's not the best modifier, but anyway. Anyway, let's say I want to apply the same modifier to all the rest of the guys. If I have all of them selected and these guys selected, I just press Ctrl L and modifiers. And all of them got the same modifier, right? But never, the modifiers are never connected each other, right? So, for example, but this is another topic I'm just going to mention here. If we want to reduce the whatever settings in our modifiers, change whatever settings in our modifiers, it will be affect just the last selection, which is the yellowish one. You see? In order to affect all of them all together, I have to press Alt and then move. I have to have Alt pressed. So I move whatever parameter, it will be affect all of them at once, right? So that's pretty much how Blender works. So if you get used to it, it's not a big deal to get used with. It's very straightforward, because most of the times when you have your scene, if you want to have your scene organized in a way similar to 3D Max, I think the best way that I figure out is to have an empty object, right, surrounding the entire object, and then with all of these guys linked to it, right? Because you always can see your empty objects here, so you know that this is these groups. Oh, sorry, I didn't link it. So you know this is linked groups, right? So you always can select this guy and play around like a group in 3D Max, right? And I think if you have, I just don't like to have all of the gizmos being visual. You see in all those kind of empty gizmos on the scene. For me, it's a bit confused. I like to play around with a scene very clean. So if you don't want to see them, you always can go here. Oh, where is he? Oh, here, and then you don't see the empties, right? You can always hide it and hide the empties and in your scene, and so you don't see the groups, right, on your scene. And I don't know if this is something possible here. Let's say that we go here in Max and we don't want to see just the groups. Helpers, maybe no. No. The only way you don't see the groups is if you close all the groups, so you don't see the groups anymore. Right? that's the thing. I hope you like it, guys. I changed the topic. I dived into a bit another topic here, but I think because it's very important for you to understand why. Maybe I'm guessing Blender doesn't have the idea of group on it. But whatever you can do in Groups Emacs, you still can do in Blender this way. Right? See you next time. Bye.